Hello, Copelands. How's my hair look? A good side? Boy, my hair's high. Anyway, that was a great service yesterday, and I had actually written out a speech for your dad, but I thought yesterday went so perfectly, and everybody said what needed to be said, so I didn't say what I wanted to say. But I want you all to know how much your family and how much your dad meant to me. So I thought I'd tape it and send it to you. Jerry was an amazing man. He made everyone feel special. But I have to tell you, I really think I'm his favorite. He even shared his birthday with my oldest daughter, Brooke, March 2nd. How special is that and selfless of him to share his birthday with my daughter. So I know I am his favorite. Yes, he was your dad, he was Heather's husband, but he was truly my dear friend. Whenever there was a party at the Copelands or a family get-together, we made sure that we would find each other during the day and spend time, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, talking about what was most important to us. And that was our family, his cars, and we both loved the Padres and the Chargers. When we left, we always made sure we would meet up and give each other a hug and tell each other we loved them. I don't think most people knew that. I trademarked the name Mr. C and Mrs. C because they reminded me of happy days, like Mr. and Mrs. C Cunningham. Mr. and Mrs. C took a liking to me, and I took definitely a liking to them. I remember when I was in the spa business, they would come to my booth in Del Mar every year, and they would drive up to the LA County, known as the Pomona Fair, to visit me in my booth and sit there, and we'd just chat for half an hour or so, and they'd walk around the fair. I remember I would always wait for them and look for them to come. They would call me the day before and say, "We're coming up to see you tomorrow, Joe." And I would try to get them tickets, and they would come visit with me. I would look for them all day long, mostly because I was excited to see them, but also because I smoked back then, and I didn't want to disappoint them. So whenever I would see them coming from afar, I would run to the bathroom, wash my face and hands really well, so when they came up I could give them a really big hug and tell them I was happy to see them. What I watched and learned from Mr. C was to listen more than you speak. He was a quiet man, but carried a big stick. When he said something, you wanted to listen carefully and intently and try to learn from it. Unfortunately, he was so good at listening, I had to do most of the talking when we were together. He confirmed to me that family is the most important, and he lived it in his own life. I know Mr. and Mrs. C are proud of me and my wife for the way we are trying to raise our kids to have respect and to be educated. Those were two very important things to them. I once asked Mr. and Mrs. C in the Copeland's backyard, "What's the secret to a happy and long marriage?" Mrs. C let him answer the question, and he pondered it for a few minutes and looked at me and with one word, as he always did, and profoundly said, "Acquiesce, Joe." Again, I didn't want to disappoint him. But I didn't know what the word meant. So I just shook my head and nodded. And I believe I went home that night and looked it up. And I try to use that in my marriage all the time. But I'm not nearly as good at it as Mr. C. He taught me not to push my kids in the direction that I thought that they should go. But he taught me to let my kids decide which direction they wanted to go in. And Mr. and Mrs. C raised 4 very unique, different, beautiful, and successful kids. Letting them be the people that they wanted to be. Colleen is a beautiful artist. He's married a great man, lived a simple life, and is very happy. John builds mansions for celebrities and is at the top of his field. Patrick, I think he's the musical director at Disneyland or something like that, and is so successful and doing what he loves. And Chris is the master in his business and is so highly respected by his peers and others. So I've learned to listen to my kids and listen to their dreams. And just try to provide them with the tools that they need to be those unique individuals. I can go on and on what I've learned from Mr. and Mrs. C. But there's a very few important things that I know to be true. Love is a mirror, and what you put out will reflect back. Mr. and Mrs. C are loved by so many because they've loved so many. I've witnessed that the best use of our time is spent on something and the people that will outlast us. And I've learned that we make a living by what we do, but we make a life by what we do. We make a living by what we do, but we make a life by what we give. Okay, maybe I wasn't his favorite. Maybe we all were his favorites. But I can tell you this, he was everyone's favorite. I love you all. If you're a Copeland or a Massimino, a brother, a sister, a niece, a nephew, a grandchild, a second wife, it doesn't matter. I love you all, and I'm here if you ever need anything. You all have given me so much. One of my favorite parts of the day yesterday was seeing Ashley and Dylan and Natalie and Amy all grown up and beautiful. We were all so blessed. Cheers and God bless. Thanks for letting me share and for being in your life. I'll miss Mr. C more than you know. Have a good day.